Hi loves, I'm Ellie Frost, and on this channel we're talking about the multi-dimensional approach to rapidly and radically healing and transforming during and after narcissistic abuse. And this video is about don't let the narcissist manipulate you by doing these things. So I'm going to talk about what the narcissist is going to do and how you can protect yourself, right, from being manipulated. The first one I want to talk about is guilt tripping. Narcissists guilt trip you all the time. Yeah, there's a whole module that I do in Hoovering, my program, about coming out of the fog, the fear, obligation and guilt, right? They want you to feel guilty for not doing what they want you to do, right? They'll make you feel bad. They'll make you feel bad if you react to their terrible behavior. Yeah, and like maybe you react in a way that they don't like, or that takes you out of yourself and you feel guilty yourself for it. They're going to guilt trip you anyway, right? They're going to guilt trip you for not stroking their ego, paying them enough attention, paying them enough compliments and praise, right? They're going to make you feel guilty. Maybe they're an elderly, we were talking about this on the coaching call in Sovereign. Maybe it's an elderly parent, right? That's the narcissist, and they'll guilt trip you for not seeing them enough. Yeah, they're going to guilt trip you. Here's the thing, right? What can you do to protect yourself? Don't be guilt tripped. Stay in your heart. Decide what is right for you to do in alignment with your true values, right? And your health, your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, right? Don't be pushed into behaviors because you're being made to feel guilty by someone else. Number 2, breadcrumbing. This is where the narcissist gives you just enough attention, just enough care, just enough of what is expected in a normal relationship to keep you invested in it. Yeah? Breadcrumbing you, right? Fundamentally not meeting your needs, wants and desires, but giving you just enough that is needed to keep you there. Don't be breadcrumbed. How can you protect yourself? Be very clear on your values, boundaries, needs, wants and desires in a relationship. And if they're not getting met and you're communicating that those needs and wants aren't getting met, then readdress the relationship. Third one, gaslighting. Gaslighting. What's going on? They are confusing you and distorting your sense of reality, right? They'll tell you that how you see it is wrong, that what happened didn't happen. They may call you crazy. Yeah, they want you not to trust yourself so that you trust them, and then they can distort your sense of reality. The danger of gaslighting is it happens slowly over time, right? And eventually we just lose complete touch with ourselves, right? We start believing that the narcissist is right. So how can you protect yourself? Know what happened, right? Stay in your truth, stay in your body, like really feel into how you're feeling. When you're being gaslit, you're being confused. Be wary of people that confuse you, right? Most of us here, we know what happened, right? But we get cognitive dissonance when we're being abused, right? Which is the idea that the brain can't hold on to two opposing ideas. My partner loves me, my partner abuses me. So we tend to choose the one we want to believe, and then we're more susceptible to gaslighting. Gaslighting feels like being on a merry-go-round, spun around in circles. People call the way that people talk word salad, because it's just like, a mess, really, of garbage, right? You know what happened. Intend to trust yourself. Yeah? The danger of gaslighting is, especially in these kind of cycles, it happens slowly over time. So originally we can think, well, maybe I didn't get that right, or maybe I am overreacting, for example. But over time, you're constantly being made wrong, especially if you question or, call the narcissist out. So really, really, you might want to keep a journal and write down what happened, just to keep you sane. Right? Write down what happened and how you felt about it. Don't let your feelings be invalidated. I'm going to talk about that later. Number 4, future faking, right? Deal with the reality of the relationship now, not the projection. Because remember, we're dealing with master manipulators, narcissists, who are masters of illusion in the love bombing stage, which I'm going to talk about. They project who you want them to be. And in future faking, you're hanging on for the day that they decide to change, right? And then you realize the whole relationship is keeping you on the hook again for a person that doesn't exist. Don't Deal with the reality now. Decide whether you can live with this now. Decide what your boundaries need to be now, given the behavior you're actually receiving, not the lie of what could happen in the future. Number 5, a narcissist classic, lying. They manipulate you through their lies. They will lie like with no conscience, with no remorse, with even when it looks ridiculous and you're bringing them the facts, right? They will keep lying so often. Narcissists love to lie, and if you call them out on it, they'll just gaslight you and say they didn't say that like that, or they didn't mean it like that, or you got it wrong, or you're overreacting, or you always do this, or they'll guilt trip you, right, for something, for spoiling the day, you know, lying. And then the way they get out of it is using these other tactics. They are liars. A lot of us carry what I call an injustice trauma, right? I was talking to someone about this at the weekend, where, you know, we've been traumatized by people not telling the truth, right? And so we start kind of acting from that wound, right? We get very upset about anything that isn't, I mean, I had this trauma, so that's how I know about it. And there's some particular root traumas. Again, in my work, what I found is even if you've had hundreds of traumatic events, right, it doesn't matter. It does really matter. I care about us. I really care about what we've been through. But it doesn't matter in terms of it's not harder to heal, right? There are some root traumas that I address in my work that we actually dissolve, and when those root traumas are dissolved, then then everything gets cleared up basically in our energy. We heal. So an injustice trauma is formed from people who are serial liars, and you know, it's very hard to deal with pathological liars, and a lot of narcissists are. Number 6, being cryptic. They'll be cryptic, right? Instead of apologizing to you, they'll reach out to you, but give you, like, talk about something completely irrelevant often. This is, not all narcissists do this, but a lot of them do. And we tend to project our empathy. So one of the things to protect yourself is do not project empathy on people that don't have it, right? See if they've got empathy. Don't make these assumptions that they have. Because often I know that when my ex was being cryptic, I was like, oh, he does miss me. I made up a story. He does miss me. He just doesn't know what to say. You know, he just feels awkward. So I projected my empathy on him rather than just saying he's being really cryptic and it's really awkward and inappropriate. He should be apologizing, right? But I projected on how he just finds it difficult to say things, you know? So cryptic is a sign that you're being manipulated, and don't project your empathy on them. Another one, you can protect yourself, let people earn your trust. Don't project your trustworthiness onto them. Number 7, the classic love bombing. Now, in what I teach, love bombing does not have to be a big gesture. It is just when the narcissist projects who you want and need them to be, right? They know how to behave. They know what you want from them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to love bomb you. So it can be grand gestures, but it's just when they're living the lie, they're being a fake person. They're being the person that they know that you need and want them to be, but they're not going to sustain that in the relationship, right? They can't keep it up. So don't be love bombed. Yeah, if you feel that things are moving too fast, just say, things are moving a bit fast for me. I need to go a bit slower in this relationship. Take your time, ask questions, you know, check out whether things add up. When you feel awkward, question it. Don't just dismiss your emotions. Don't override your emotions. Don't think you're being silly, right? Really stay in your body and see how you feel. Question how you feel. How am I feeling around this person? Don't automatically assume that there's something wrong with you or you're just responding from a wound. Like, actually be aware of when you're feeling things a bit off, right? Number 8, hoovering. The Hoover, the famous Hoover. So they're going to hoover you in the majority of cases, unless you've had a final discard, right? And the Hoover can look a bit like a love bomb coming back in, yeah? It might not be a big gesture. It might just be a cryptic message or a reach out or whatever. So they're not going to have changed. It's very rare that a narcissist will change. They're not interested in personal development and growth. They're not interested in self-reflection. They're not interested in becoming better humans. They're mostly interested in becoming better narcissists, in what I found. And I am pretty well versed in this. So the Hoover, yeah. And sometimes they do a Hoover not because they want you back, just to see if they can get you back. See if they can get you on the emotional hook. See if they can trauma bond you again. See if they can get you back on the hook. So it's pretty nasty, actually, because a lot of love bombing isn't to get you back in the relationship. It's just to see if they can. Yeah, it's to feed their ego and keep you on the hook as a potential source of supply again. So just be aware of the hoovering. Devaluing and invalidating your feelings. This is the way that they slowly erode your self-esteem. Yeah, slow put downs over time until suddenly you don't recognize yourself. You've got no confidence and you don't know who you are anymore because your identity's been eroded, because you've been pushed outside your values and boundaries. See my video from yesterday. So live according to your values. When someone is pushing you outside your boundaries and values, I talked about boundaries yesterday and what they are and what they're not. Really, that's a massive red flag. Yeah. Just take time to reflect on what you value most, right? Healthy relationships, right? The healthiest relationships have a shared vision for the relationship and shared values. If you are being pushed outside what your real values are, what you stand for as a person, yeah, this is a huge red flag. And I want you to come back into your values, get clear on them. If you're being pushed into things that you, behaviors or ways of being, including behaviors, right? Because a narcissist will trigger you so much. So another way they manipulate you is they trigger you so much, and then you act out in reactive abuse, and then you feel a lot of shame and guilt, right? And then they can guilt trip you and the whole thing goes round again. Triangulation. This is the setup. Triangulation. Oh, have I been in these situations where basically to take the attention off them, they kind of set you up with someone else, and they cause animosity between you, right? And basically, the way this works is they tend to be the hero in it. You know what I mean? The one in the middle that both can go to. But they've actually set this up, right? I've been in this situation. They actually set up the situation so that you're, you know, at loggerheads with someone else. They're in the middle. So the attention goes off of them onto the other person, and they're just causing animosity, and they're just siphoning your energy during it, right? So just be aware of people that don't help you form healthy relationships with other people. And the last one I'm going to talk about today is scapegoating, right? I was the family scapegoat, the one that they blame for everything. Yeah. The thing is, what does scapegoating cause? Well, in me, I'll give you my story. It made me into a chronic people pleaser. It made me into someone who couldn't make a decision for themselves often because I would be trying to please everyone else, right? It made me believe that there was something wrong with me. Yeah, because I was always the one that was scapegoated. Like I would always be to blame, or, you know what I mean, left out, actually. For me personally, it was a lot of emotional neglect and being left out. So if you are the scapegoat, right, just know it's got nothing to do with you. You're just dealing with a manipulator. Yeah. And it's a great way to put you down and keep you trying hard to get love from them. And that's what they do it for, again, to siphon your energy. So I hope you like this video. I've got a special offer. If you join Sovereign by the 1st of September, just email me. You will get a 90-minute session with me. So do email me about that. Please keep liking, subscribing and sharing. Lots of love, guys. I'll speak to you soon.